Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. So this is just going to be a very random video. So I really didn't know what song to pick, but I kind of think this song fits the profile, the vibe of the video. It's a beautiful song, but I think behind that there's a sense of pain. So we're living in times where I believe we're under tremendous stress. I think other people much more than myself. I think we're going through an extreme energetic shift from Pisces into Aquarius, and right now the stars, the sun's blasting us. We're really getting a lot of like physical, actual energy blasting the solar system, the planet, the shifting of everything. It's causing a lot of stress, and also on a physical 3D level, there's just a tremendous shift in society on every level, in every area. Every area, from how do you socialize, like the workforce is changing. Everything's changing. Businesses are collapsing, new ones are emerging, new technology. There's so much pressure to learn, to change, to grow in a very rapid way, and I think it's putting a lot of stress on people. Countries are shifting alignments with other countries, and there's just even beyond that, there's financial pressure. People right now have, a lot of people, a lot of countries, a lot of cities, like it is almost impossible to afford rent or to afford to pay your monthly mortgage for your home. It's hard to run a business now, and I mean really hard. And I just think there's a tremendous level of stress in relationships and love and life and just enjoying your life. And one of the newest things that I finally delved into was avoidance, because I've met someone and it was just a very intuitive thing, and the word avoidant came up, and I was like, okay, what is this? And so I Googled it, and I've heard of avoidance. There's two types of avoidance, and I've been delving into it, and because I remember about 3 years ago when I was really learning about narcissist abuse, this whole new avoidant thing came up. It's like, oh man, there's not just one type of avoidant, there's two types, blah blah blah. And I thought, you know what, I was overwhelmed. I go, this is just too much information. I've got to stick with one area. Not one area, it's multiple areas, but it was just I couldn't add more on. And so I kind of left it. I had a very little learning about it, and I just moved on. And so now it's rearing its, I don't know if I want to say ugly head, but it's rearing its head, and I've been delving into it the last 72 hours, and I came to a realization. And I don't know a nice way to say this, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but there's a lot of messed up people out there. And it's just overwhelming dealing with all these different, not even personality types, but just dealing with all these people with all these different issues. And I look at the corporate world. I look at the workforce. It doesn't have to be the corporate world. It could be any business that has more than, say, 3 employees. You've got all these different employees with all these different personality types, with all these, I don't know what you call it, psychological, emotional issues, and you have to deal with each person in a different way. And I think it's just overwhelming. So I applaud you guys who go to work every day, deal with different personalities and different issues of other people every day, and do the best you can. And I think you have to maybe look at yourself and realize, like, you've really done a good job dealing with every issue on the planet that's been thrown at you that really has nothing to do with you, yet you have to deal with it. So, okay, I had a realization yesterday when I was reading up on and watching YouTube videos on avoidance. And I mean, one of the realizations just simply was, not all avoidants are narcissists. Okay, that's a separate category. In fact, a true avoidant isn't narcissistic at all. They don't do anything to purposely hurt you. They don't plan it. They don't have revenge tactics. They don't do the whole jealousy rage thing. They're hurt, and they avoid people, they avoid intimacy and closeness because they're fragile, and they're trying to protect themselves, and they're trying to cause or create a sense of stability within themselves, which I applaud. Most people look to other people to, like a narcissist, their whole thing is they need someone to give them stability. They need someone to regulate their emotions, and on and on. So, a long time ago, someone in my family hurt me really bad. It was just a mean game for no reason. There's literally no reason other than they thought it was funny, and it was a very mean thing, and they knew what they did hurt me, and they did it on purpose to hurt me, and they just thought it was funny. And I remember I looked to my brother and I go, like, why did they do that? And this was probably the 5th time he said this, maybe the 10th time. He goes, Michael, they're effed up. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, Michael, you got to understand, these people are messed up inside. They're not. He goes, they're messed up. Now, my brother-in-law himself was pretty messed up, but he had the wisdom, and he just looked at it. He goes, Michael, they're just messed up. He goes, it's them. And he'd repeated this to me, and it's like my brain being an empath. Like, you can't understand that because you want to look at everyone like you only see the good in them, and that's one of our defaults, and it's not a good default. It seems like, oh, that's a good thing. Like, it is, but you really got to see the whole picture, because you can get damaged, you can misunderstand people, so learning how to see the whole picture, it's tough to do, I think, not just for empaths, for anybody. So it's been a long journey for me to have this learning, and it's like I finally, my picture is different. I guess in NLP we'd call it map of the world. But I'm finally looking at the world. It's like, it seems bad, but it's almost beautiful. It's like I finally realized, like, people are messed up. There is a lot. Like right now in my image, I'm imaging all these people in San Francisco. Or any big city, or any city at all. And I imagine, it's like I'm looking at all these people driving down the road, walking down the sidewalks, taking the cable cars, going to work, going into these massive buildings with all these different personalities, with all these psychological issues and emotions, and somehow they make it work. There's levels of understanding for me. So one of the things I've avoided my whole life and done a really good job is caffeine, cigarettes, drugs. I mean, yeah, I've experimented a little here and there, but I've, for the most part, just like really avoided it. And I just couldn't understand, like, well, why do people drink coffee every day? Like, why do people do drugs? And it's like, I'm like finally it's like right now I realize people are doing anything and everything they can just to get through the day, just to pay their bills, just to make it happen. And I applaud you. Some way, somehow, this great machine is working. It's moving. It's not perfect. It's rumbling. It's stumbling. It's bumbling. But somehow, I guess from this perspective, it's so hard to understand how it works, how people, all these different people and personalities with emotions and issues flying all over the place. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I mean this in a very admirable and very respectful way. Somehow it works. And sometimes you get to see, maybe it's rare, but a sight of just absolute kindness. So you guys really need to applaud yourself, and you need to realize that you are going through a whirlwind, a hurricane of emotions and issues. And it's like you go to work every day, you go to school every day, you deal with life every day, dealing with the unconscious issues from childhood, and then you go to work dealing with other people's issues from childhood, dealing with the issues of life, whether it's paying your bills, paying the rent, getting to work on time, just everything that you have to do. I don't care what it takes for you to get by. You do whatever you have to do to get by. And then reward yourself. Applaud yourself. Life is a balance. On the one hand, a lot of people think it's like, oh, I'm a healer, but you never learned how to fight. And there's a little thing that I just found recently, and it's like, it said something like, a warrior who only knows how to fight but not heal becomes destructive. And a healer who only knows how to heal and not stand in their power becomes helpless. Then it says, be the warrior who heals and the healer who fights. So I guess what I'm saying overall is, like, it is an absolute balancing act that we're all trying to do. We're all trying to go to work. We're all trying to be kind and polite and respectful. Yet at the same time, the last video I made, it says, this young lady made a little short and says, well, why can't we be nice to everyone? Because not everyone's nice, because they're hurt, because they're damaged and they never got their healing, or they're going through healing and they're not there yet. It's tough. It is a tough world. It's like, because people like us, empaths, spiritual people, heart-based people, we just want to be nice to everyone. And I made a whole video based on what she said. It's like, well, why can't we be nice to everyone? It's because not everyone's nice. Even right now in this video, all I want to do is just be nice to people. But I've absolutely learned, like, you can't. And it's such a hard... It's a concept I finally understand now, but I'm in my 50s, and it took me literally 50 years, because I've heard this since I was about 8 or 9 or 10 years old. I mean, people are like, Michael, you can't be nice to everyone. And I remember I would look at the adults and be like, why? Like, that sounded like such a crazy concept. And learning how to not be nice to people who are mean or aggressive or messed up, or learning how to appropriately deal with it. It's that in of itself is a 20-30 year journey of, like, well, how do you appropriately do this? Well, for me, walking away is a huge one. Just cutting people out of my life and never talking to them again. That's another one. And even that right there, even the way I said it, it's a very hard thing for me to do. It's just like, well, I just want to be their friend. Boundaries is something that I really just started to, I would say, get kind of good at about 5+ years ago, even though I've been working on them for 2 decades now. It's just, and I understand the power of boundaries. You can really begin to create this flow state if you understand the ebb and flow, the give and take, and here's how you deal with this situation. Here's how you deal with that situation. It's a balancing act. It's a learning, growing experience. In NLP, we have a series of what we call presuppositions. Essentially, what these are is, now there's a technique called using presuppositions, but that's a completely different thing. But presuppositions essentially are beliefs that we have to take on in order to become an NLP trainer. And one of the presuppositions is that everyone is doing the best they can with what they have. So number one, it really gives you almost an out or a way to forgive people that have harmed you in a very bad way, okay? People that you couldn't forgive. So number two, as an NLP trainer, it allows us to have a perspective when we're working with someone to go, hey, this person's coming to us and they're doing the best they can with what they have, and allows you to see them in that light. So even if they get mad at you, or even if they're doing something, see, a lot of times we have strategies that are just, they don't function, they don't work, but it's all we know. The intention is, I'm trying to do this thing over here, but the strategy doesn't get them that. So it's kind of like it's a mad circle. You're going around and around in infinity, and you can't get out of this loop. And so when we find these loops, we pop them out of it. So having the presupposition of, hey, everyone's doing the best they can with what they have, it allows us to see them and to see the strategies or unconscious tools that they're using, so we can help them to make change. So I want to bring up another subject. So I was talking to someone the other night, and we were talking about communication, men, women, etc. And for the life of him, he couldn't understand any of the concepts that I was trying to share with him. He meant well, his intentions are well. And one of the things is when men take my course on how to understand women, it is a huge mind shift, but essentially what we're really only doing is opening them up to the right brain. From that processor, from that perspective, suddenly you can understand from her perspective. So one of the things with the male brain, the left brain, and this is going to wrap around into everything I've talked about just before this, okay, is you look at everything in terms of black or white and in terms of rules, because the left brain processes everything through rules, structure, and organization. And he kept coming at me with like, well, you shouldn't do that. Well, in NLP, that's something that's called a modal operator. It's when people say should, shouldn't, must, mustn't, and those are all generalizations based off of rules. Again, that's a very left brain way of processing and thinking and looking at life, is it comes down to rules. Well, there's this community out there. One of them is called the Red Pill, and I think there's another one, and essentially it's just men that have been hurt, and the reason why they've been hurt is because they don't understand women, and so their brain is like, well, they broke the rules, and it's like, well, it's not about rules, it's about love. And there's zero understanding for another human being and who they are, where they are at in life, and just who they are emotionally and personally and intimately. So the black or white brain doesn't understand other people. It can't. It just understands rules. Like, well, we have to have the same set of rules and follow by them. It's like, well, what do rules have to do with love? Absolutely nothing. So this person kept telling me, well, you shouldn't do that, and you shouldn't this, that. And it kind of was irritating me because it's like, okay, here's what it is. He didn't have the ability to look at a person as a human being and be like, this person is in distress. I get that she's a woman. I get that she's a female. But these red pill rules don't apply to this situation. She's in distress. And so he's applying these bizarre rules to something that has nothing to do with dating a relationship. Like, this is a person that's in serious distress and needs help, etc., etc. Well, the rule says, and it's like, yeah, someone's got a broken leg, they're bleeding on the side of the road, but they happen to be a woman with breasts, and therefore the rule is, here's how you deal with women. Don't help her, because that would be simping, or whatever the terminology is. And it's just like, it's a human being with a heart and with a soul. She needs help, period. So one of the challenges of being a very left-brain person is you blindly follow a set of rules without looking at the picture, without looking at the situation. You're just like, oh, there's a woman, therefore here's the rules. It's like, no. She got hit by a car. This has nothing to do with these weird rules that you live by. You need to assess the situation for what it is. And so the way this person was talking about women was very dehumanizing, like they were objects, like they were machines, like they were robots, like there was just this, I must conform, I must follow the rules, I must step 1, step 2, step 3, and it was very disheartening. It was very cold. And yet this person is not a cold person. This is a very kind, caring, good man. He just couldn't see anything other than this set of rules and this perspective. And the worst part is the way he was communicating was very looking at women like they're these external things, because the left brain is the external brain, and it's just a cold way of communicating and talking about human beings. And he didn't mean to come across that way, and yet he did. And the other thing was trying to explain these right brain concepts for him to understand women better, where it was impossible where he was at in the moment. I mean, it's the old adage where women say A out of the right brain and he's hearing B out of the left brain. He's not hearing what's being said, and yet he doesn't realize it. He has no clue. And it's not bad intentions at all, and it's not laziness. He's actually really working hard, saying, yeah, you're saying this over here. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying. The energy, the effort is actually being put into it. It's just it's being received in the wrong way. So one of the things you may begin to realize about me is I'm very, very protective, and I don't know if defensive is the right word, but very protective of women, especially feminine women who are very emotional and right brain, and just people, the whole right brain emotional experience. I think we're living in a world where it's becoming harder and harder to just be open emotionally, to connect on that level. So this is just another challenge between human beings, whereas you've got these very left brain people, very right brain people, and then you've got the people who are both left and right, and you go into the workforce together with all these different, completely radically different views and perspectives and ways of processing communication, body language, and information. What I'm trying to say is the challenge of just understanding each other is, I don't know what the right word is. It's phenomenal. It's impossible. It's overwhelming. I guess what I'm saying is kudos to all you guys who have to work with large groups of people in corporate worlds, corporate businesses, big businesses, medium-sized businesses, dealing with life. You really, really should give yourself a pat on the back. You're doing the best you can with the tools that you have. And somehow, some way, you are making it through each and every day. So reward yourselves, have compassion for yourselves, and be kind to yourself. And remember, you're doing a really good job. You just may not realize it yet. Alright, that's it for this video. God bless you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.